Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Scarfinger, and this is something that I probably should have done a long time ago, but this is the audio answer to the question that was proposed by Amber, who is Chase's lady, and she asked us a while ago, what are the 5 games that we keep coming back to? And I know for her and I, one of the major answers is the Mass Effect series. We're both fans, and I've played that game more than probably anybody should. So she said no Mass Effect for me, and so I'm not going to say Mass Effect. So I went and racked my brain a little bit, and I found 5 other games that I can talk about here that are just games that I keep coming back to for one reason or another. They all have different reasons, but I'm going to start with the oldest one of my 5, which is NCAA 14. For me, NCAA Football 14 is the pinnacle of football games. I enjoyed the whole series immensely, and it was the game that I most certainly bought every year. I'm putting hundreds of hours into the series, and I know if it was still being tracked, mostly because my 360 is not online right now. Well, not online most of the time. I'm pretty sure I would have like hundreds and hundreds of hours. I averaged about 200 or so hours in the series every year. And since there hasn't been one since 2013 when this game came out, it's been the game that I come back to very often. And to be honest, like I said, I think it was just masterful in its creation, and it's still being played today by a lot of people and a lot of YouTubers, and because of a legal matter, they can't really make sports games anymore. So this is the one that we keep coming back to because it's the only one that we really have. I would probably still be a supporter of the NCAA series. I don't really care very much about college sports, but one of the main things that drew me back into it was the team builder aspect, where you could create teams or download teams that other people have made, and you can, put them into the game. I think you can only do like 12 at a time or whatever, but it still was, it was absolutely everything for me, as far as, playing the game, just watching the game, like downloading teams from like movies or something like that, and then watching those two teams play against each other. I had a lot of fun doing that. And even in the early days with my iPod, I actually had a piece of software that was like a tournament software where I held my own tournaments with my created teams and other people's created teams in NCAA. But like playing the game did get a little bit old for me, so I started coaching. I would pick my teams, and then I would do coach mode where I would pick the plays and then the players had to do it. And that increased the longevity for me, where it didn't get old because, I didn't get tired of playing, because I did actually get tired of playing, but I didn't get tired of playing the game because I could do something different with it. And that's the reason why, NCAA will always be a game that I come back to. Every once in a while I'll fire up the 360 and I'll get a game or two in, and it's one of those things where it just kind of feels right, and it kind of feels like home. When for a lot of people who go back and play old stuff, I understand that. I'm not hugely nostalgic, but I am for a game like this. Game number 2, I just kind of put, it kind of has an asterisk on it because it's basketball games. I enjoy the my career, my player, whatever you want to call it, section of basketball games where I create a character and it's basically a basketball RPG. My game of choice right now is NBA Live 19. I have put in a lot of time into NBA Live 19, and I just like the RPG aspect of it. Now, the 2K series had, which, you know, where this really got off to a start with this mode of the series. I mean, of these types of games, it kind of started getting bogged down by the microtransactions. So even though I do own a recent one, I own 2K18 for the Switch, I kind of got away from that in recent years, because in order for you to play, you are really incentivized to put more money down to buy the virtual currency so that you can make your player actually usable. And that's not something that's for me anymore. So, but there's none of that in this, especially in this mode of the live series. And that's why at this point, I prefer live over 2K. Also in 2K, for some reason, I kind of press the button a little too long and my release is always late, or like when I try to correct it, I'm like way early. It's just weird for me. And in the live series, I can actually shoot. I know that is a deficiency in me, in my game, but that's just how this works. But so I will say basketball games with an asterisk, but currently it's the live series because that is the series that I keep coming back to, between 18 and 19. Those are the ones that I keep coming back to, when I just want to play something and just kind of turn my brain off. And one cool thing about the live series is there's different modes, and I've even got into a couple of the different modes. Now, I haven't really done like a franchise or anything like that, but one thing I have done is like court battles, where while playing through the career mode, you unlock other players by like beating them or opening chests or spending your in-game currency, which is not something that you can purchase, and purchase new players and things of that nature so that you can put them into your court battle system. And it's kind of like a Clash of Clans type deal where you set up your court and you have custom rules, and with your custom rules, people can invade your court and try to take over. Or you can, you know, if your team is good enough, they can withstand someone trying to take over your court. And that is something that I dig quite often. And it is the only time that I actually play a full game of basketball with a full team. It's just fun. And then like with your My Career character, you can play a whole lot of street ball, or you can, actually go into the NBA. And, you know, the NBA is where I've had the most fun and, you know, where I've gotten the most XP and in-game currency and all of that. So, but there's way more than that. You can go online and play just live, basketball games where it's either street ball or an organized league type situation. I mean, there's just a lot here, and that's something that I just dig. I dig that quite a bit. Okay, so moving on, my next game is Borderlands 2. Now, I'm a fan of the Borderlands. I'm a fan of Borderlands in general, but Borderlands 2 is one of those games where I realized that I'm really kind of in with the kind of looter shooters. I like Diablo, but Diablo is not something that I come back to very often, even though I do own Diablo 3 on several different systems, 3 to be in fact. I own it on Xbox, PlayStation, and the Switch. It's one of the first Switch games that I ever bought. And it's just, I dig it for like the humor. I dig it for, the gunplay works well, your special abilities and just everything. There is next to nothing that I don't dig about the Borderlands series, but Borderlands 2 was such a refinement over Borderlands 1, it is the one that if I'm going to play something in this series, it's the one that I come back to the most. And then next is the two PC games that not a whole lot of people play, but is games that I dig quite often. And that would be Prison Architect first. Prison Architect is one of the games I dig. Tycoon games on PC more than anything else. Tycoon games and like city builders and such. I dig those quite often. Prison Architect is just it's just a fun game for me. And even to now, I have a series on the Geeks Gone Raw universe page of YouTube page of me playing Prison Architect. Now I did mess up part of that by recording, and part of my screen didn't actually record, but I do. I played a decent amount and I explained a lot because I know it is available on console, but the console versions are different than the PC versions. And even though I do own it on, I actually paid for it on PlayStation, and it's on the Game Pass on Xbox. I figured I'd put out a PC series so that people can get a feel of how this thing works overall, and not just the way that the console locks you into certain things and how all of that works. So, but Prison Architect, like, you design and maintain and operate a prison, which as a brother, it doesn't really seem like something that I would really enjoy. And like, one of the things that turns off a lot of people is once I got in the early betas, probably about midway through, and there was a lot of monthly betas, and when I got in, there was not a story mode, and a lot of people, when they start they start off with the story mode, and one of the first things that you do in the story mode is execute somebody, and that turned a lot of people off. But if you can get past that, there's a lot to be had here. It is really, it's a city builder / management / it's a management game more so than anything. Like, you design and build a prison, but you have to maintain it, because if you don't do it well, then you're going to have a lot of things happen to your prisoners, and no one wants that. Not even, someone who should be averse to prisons like myself. So, but I really dig the game. And if you only have access to the console versions are absolutely serviceable, and they actually do the job, and you can get a good feel for the game. I just like the more, I guess you would say that the PC version gives you more information, and it's on the screen the whole time, instead of having to go look for it, to have to press a button to go look for it. That's what I dig the most out of it. And then there's other things that you can do on the PC, like with mods and such. Even though personally I haven't done a whole lot with the mods, I have downloaded mods that give you rooms that are already made, so that I don't have to manually build everything. But other than that, like, it's really, really dope, especially with the hundreds of hours that I've put into it. Kind of similar to, like, all of these games I've put hundreds of hours into. And that's that's a result of these being games that I keep coming back to. And for the last game, it is, no surprise here, it is RimWorld. For anyone that has listened to me in the past, years, I really dig RimWorld. RimWorld is weird to look at, because it has a lot of the really pulled back art style of like a Prison Architect. But what RimWorld does is it mashes a lot of different genres. There's city building, there is RTS, there is management, and there's a lot there. And to be honest, I could have put Banished on this list also, which is way more of a village builder, but is mostly a resource management game. But this game, for me, it just has everything. It's like the Sims for grown dudes, if you say, like, because not only do you have to manage your world or whatever like that, but you have to manage their personalities, because each of these characters, some people call them pawns, each of them have their own personalities. They have their own wants and needs, and they have personality quirks. They have things that they're good at, things that they're not good at, things that they love to do, things that they refuse to do, and they interact with each other in a way that sometimes that can cause problems. Like you might have somebody who has a chemical interest, which means that they really like doing drugs. And then you have someone that's a teetotaler, which means they don't like doing drugs at all. And they, if it's in a situation where they come across each other, they might actually have beef and like start a fist fight with each other. And like those fist fights can actually turn into things, and like maintaining their mental stability, because there's a lot of like you click on a pawn and you look and you can see all of the things that are affecting them, whether it's like they need more rest, or they need more comfort, or they're hungry or something like that. And like not taking care of those needs, in balancing that with their personality quirks. And like when things happen, like someone in your colony dies, or, if they lose a loved one because they can't get married and all of this other stuff, and they have relationships in the world, where, someone could, some people can come to try to invade. You could get a raid, and there might be someone that's related to the person that's in your colony, and you might have some problems there. And even to the point to where it's like, if people are knocked down and they're not all the way dead, you can, put them in a prison, and you can talk to them long enough they'll actually join your colony and help you. And there's just so much there, and so much that I could discuss, but that would make this much, much longer than even I anticipated this being, which I thought this would be about a 10-minute thing, and I'm getting closer to 20. So those are my 5. And like, if you are interested in any of these games, I am more than willing to talk to you about them. Just hit me up. Everything is in the episode notes, and you could just send me a message and we could talk about it. And I promise you, there is, I know the Prison Architect and RimWorld probably only appeal to certain types of people, but I am that type of person, I guess you could say. But I can explain to you why it's great. And just like Prison Architect, RimWorld does have a lot of mods. RimWorld has a ton of mods that actually make your experience better. It can make your experience challenging. It's like all kinds of things. And like, y'all know me, I'm Nepo to the core, and I don't really like a whole lot of challenge when I play video games for the most part, because my time is limited with video games. But some of these are games that I will play on a harder level, because it's just sometimes it makes it more interesting, and sometimes I've played enough to where it's like this, the lower levels, the Nepo levels don't do it for me anymore. But yeah, that's me. I did my 5, and so far, hopefully sometime incoming, you can get the 5 from Chase and Sam. So shout out to my brothers from Scarchasm And I hope that if you want to, do your 5. You can either send it to us, or if you want to record it yourself, we'll put it out. Just record it and we'll put it out, and we may even talk about it on the show. So, again, thank you for checking out your boy. This is my 5. Peace out. To the Warriors, yo. Always gotta say that.
I like that shit, yeah, boy. Yeah, I'm telling you, Whoa. I'm telling you. All right, I ain't gonna talk.